Yeah.
Hey everybody, it's Karyn Bryant for Machida. I'm here with Gegard Mousasi, who we all know is fighting Costas Philippou in the co-main event at UFC Manila. And Gegard, thank you for at least recognizing that you don't get to ever fight without doing a pre-fight interview with me.
I know, for sure.
Yeah, regardless of the time. But
Yeah.
we were joking here as we were getting set up. But
Yes.
looks like you have a nice setup there in Manila. How's it been going so far? Because I know you've traveled a lot in your career certainly, but this is a new market for the UFC.
Yeah, it was first time in Manila, but I've been fighting in Asia
Yeah.
before, in Japan a lot. So I was familiar with at least. I was looking forward to coming to Manila
Mhm.
because also it's sunny. It's a new country, never been before,
Yeah.
and the people are very hospitable, very friendly, like the Asian culture that I was expecting.
Right.
So I'm having a good time
Nice.
before the fight.
So you're trying to say it's not quite warm in Holland yet? It's still cold?
Holland, it's 2 days sun, then you have at least 5 days of rain.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, if it's sunny.
If it's sunny. Well,
Yeah,
let's talk about this matchup. Going into this, you're ranked number 7 currently. Costas, it's funny how people pronounce his name, but currently ranked number 12. And, he's had a year layoff. So I feel like it's a lot to bite off to come back and fight somebody as dangerous as you. But how do you see this matchup? Because he certainly is a powerful fighter.
yeah. Well, everyone above me were scheduled for a fight,
Mhm.
and so it was the only fight that made sense. And he's a dangerous
Yeah.
opponent. I can't underestimate him. He's especially when he's in short distance. He has heavy hands, and but uh, I feel like I can do everything better.
Yeah.
And I really want to have a dominant and finish the fight. I just don't want to win. I just need to have an impressive win.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting. I was just watching, some of his fights. I'm doing the Fox shows this weekend, and
Yeah.
so I was watching his fights. And I know against Luke Rockhold, he really wasn't that motivated. I don't really think his head was in that fight. But against Lorenz Larkin, he turned it up. And
Yeah.
obviously you're a very different fighter than Lorenz, but he puts together a good, solid boxing combination, as you know.
Yeah.
So you got to look out for that. I know you love a big overhand right, but I mean, don't you, if you throw it overhand, aren't you like dangerously available for an uppercut?
Well, I I've never been knocked out, so I'm very confident that I can take a punch. But that's not the plan in this fight. So we're not gonna test my chin.
Yeah.
But I'm overall very difficult to hit, and I have a good defense stand up wise. So and besides that, I have the kicks and the knees. So it's I'm more complete fighter stand up than him, and I believe um, I believe I can finish the fight.
Well,
Yeah.
well, certainly, I feel like yes, what you're just saying is true. That I feel like you're more of a true 8-point striker, than he is, and I feel like you have a lot of advantages on the feet. But do you feel at any point the desire to take him down? I mean, ground and pound is a very strong part of your game, but most people are predicting this is going to be a stand-up fight.
Well, of course, it's MMA.
Yeah.
If it goes to the ground, it goes to the ground. But he's a short, stocky
Hmm.
guy. It's gonna be more difficult to shoot on him.
Hmm.
So whatever comes, I will take it.
Hmm. Well,
Um,
well, yeah. I mean, obviously you're prepared. I feel like no disrespect to him, but I feel like there's nothing that he's going to offer that you haven't seen before.
well, I faced strikers before with Mark Hunt and Melvin Manhoef, dangerous strikers, heavy punches. Um, so it's nothing new, but other hand, it's a fight. You
Yeah.
never know. One big punch can change everything, and so I have to be careful, and I'm not underestimating him. Maybe he's underestimating me, and that's what I'm hoping, because I feel great going into this fight. I had great training camp. I worked with David Sutherland, and he helped me a lot. So I'm very confident going into this fight. I know I can go for 3 rounds hard, and so it's a matter of time before I finish the fight.
Nice. And David Sutherland is a different striking coach than you've had before?
No, he's my doctor.
Oh, your doctor.
Yeah.
Dr. Feelgood? Like Dr.
No,
No.
he tuned. No, but he tuned the trainings,
Okay.
the rest, the supplements,
Mhm.
the way. So I'm much more professional. Let's say I tuned everything up. So I'm curious to see the results in the cage.
Nice.
That's why I'm very excited to fight. I'm pumped to fight.
Nice.
I
Well,
didn't have that a long time, so I'm looking forward to the fight. I really want to, let's say, have a fight. Like with Dan Henderson, I was looking forward to a fight,
yeah.
especially because Dan Henderson is also a guy who comes and throw big bombs.
Mhm.
He tries to knock you out. So I'm looking forward to that as well as this in this fight.
Nice. Well, you bring up a lot of points that I want to touch on. First and foremost, I will say this: that Philippou has actually not underestimated you at all. In my pre-fight,
Yeah.
material,
Yeah.
he has said that you are the biggest challenge that he will have ever faced, and that he knows he's going into this as an underdog, and he, plans to shock people. But I feel like he has great amount of respect for what you've already accomplished.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I respect him also a lot. I'm
Yeah.
definitely not underestimating, but the way I feel now, it's no disrespect or underestimating him,
Mhm.
but I feel like I can beat anyone, and I'll I'm I want to have an aggressive fight.
Mhm.
That's why I'm pumped to go and just have a good performance.
Smash. Well, let's talk about
Yeah,
Dan because you
yeah,
got it done there. Dan contested again. I was just watching that fight again this afternoon, and Dan at the end of that fight, is kind of going to looks like he's trying to move in to keep fighting you, and he's really arguing with the referee. You were in the moment, obviously. Did you feel that he was out, and do you feel that that was the right stoppage, or in hindsight, do you think Dan maybe could have kept going?
maybe he could have gone, but I knocked him down. I waited with the overhand right to finish the when he was down. I just waited because I thought he was out. So if had it thrown immediately, maybe I would have connected.
Mhm.
And but then he was coming up. He was and so I threw a left hand and I hit him. He had grabbed my leg. Once I threw the left on his head, he let my legs go,
Mhm.
and that's when the referee pushed me, and
Yeah.
then he was on top again.
Yeah.
So and it was in the first round, first
Yeah.
minute. There's no way I would have stopped with going for the kill.
Right.
So, but I have a lot of respect for Dan. So, who knows?
Yeah, it's tough, and we actually, I was just having this conversation with somebody about Mark Hunt. When you have guys like Mark Hunt, who you fought, Dan
Yeah,
Henderson, there's certain guys who are so incredibly tough that sometimes maybe the referee gives them the benefit of the doubt. In that case, maybe they
yeah,
didn't. But if you saw Mark fight
yeah,
Stipe this past weekend, it's almost like they're too tough for their own
yeah,
good, and like, oh, this guy can take it. I felt like it
yeah,
was the right stoppage personally.
yeah,
Um, because I feel like if anything, it was just postponing the inevitable.
yeah.
At
No,
that,
especially because
yeah.
he was bleeding. Normally, I pointed to the referee because his eye was cut.
Yeah,
It
right. You
wasn't
did.
just
Yeah, at
because
one point. Right, right.
it wasn't a cut, let's say, above his eye
Mhm.
or anywhere. He was bleeding from the inside.
Mm.
His white stuff in your eyes. I
Yeah.
don't know what it's called,
Yeah.
but that was all red.
Mm.
So it didn't look good,
Mhm.
and I think the referee would have stopped anyway
Mhm.
with that injury.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you talk
Yeah,
about wanting to, be decisive and have a real, kind of statement finish in this fight. Um, and that you feel really rejuvenated. And it's funny because, we've talked about this before, how last year or so you had a lot of fights with very top guys and, you got a little bit of burnt out. And I really appreciate your candor in saying that. Um, I find with you, the amazing thing is you have 42 fights and you're not 30 yet, right? It's
yeah,
insane,
almost.
Gegard. I don't.
Yeah,
Wait, you're 30 now? Almost.
almost. Yeah,
So I think that's why, some people like criticize you. That your critics say, oh, he hasn't lived up to expectation, and your fans say, Gegard's the man, and he's always been the man. So do you feel like literally at 29 with 42 fights, which is ridiculous, behind you, that you're literally now just starting to come into your own?
the one reporter also asked me, "What's your point of your career?" And because sometimes you keep winning, winning, winning.
Hmm.
You see that with boxers especially, and then eventually they're losing,
Yeah.
winning, losing, winning. That's when you going down
Right.
actually, and that's the way I was feeling. I was heading,
Yeah.
but I've seen Fito Belfort changing and Anthony Rumble Johnson.
Hmm.
They switched and they're just on top again.
Yeah.
So that's the way I feel I'm now, and that's the way I feel I'm heading at.
Hmm.
Especially because uh, with after injury, Machida, and then injury, and then Jacare,
Hmm.
when I didn't want to take the fight,
Yeah.
Dana White called. He said, "Come fight the Jacare." I said, "Well, I'm not in the mood to
Not
fight."
really in the mood.
And but when the boss calls or Dana calls,
You gotta do
it's
it.
difficult to say no. So
Right.
I took the fight and then postponed, and I wasn't in the fight,
Yeah.
but I would like to have a rematch with Machida.
Hmm.
That's the fight I want to have a rematch,
Nice. Nice.
especially because he was oiled up in that fight also. Because I didn't say anything in that fight
Hmm.
because I don't want to be a poor loser.
Hmm.
But Luke Rockhold, he said he was also oiled,
Hmm.
and I remember taking him down. He was so slippery. He
Hmm.
slipped out like a fish. I had his back. I
Yeah.
slipped like I was on a ice skate track,
Hmm.
something.
Well, I was there, with you in Brazil, and I remember there was obviously I don't know what he felt like that night, but I remember that you even in defeat had some really good moments there. So I would happily put some money down for another fight with you guys. You feel like there were some things that you did and and had it been a neutral surface, neutral whatever, that you might have been more successful.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But my, I just want to focus on this fight, beat this guy up, and then have another fight this year, and then
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. I believe I can go still for a title shot.
Nice. Well, yeah, I feel like, listen, as long as your knees are healthy and everything, all your body parts are healthy there, I feel like, yes, you're still only 29 years old. You have time, Gegard.
Yeah.
Come on. Um,
Yeah.
but like you said, the division, in terms of you taking this fight with Costas, that, he was available.
Yeah.
There's some things going on. I mean, I know, there's obviously a big title fight going on with Chris and Vitor coming up, and there's some shakeouts going on. But would a rematch with Lyoto be the next one you would want, or is there something that because obviously he did lose to Luke, but when you guys are all talking about the top, even if as a victor you fight somebody who didn't win a fight, I still feel like the mathematics of it are advantageous fights for you guys. You know what I mean? When you're talking top five.
Well, I'm not looking for that fight to be honest, but I'm just pointing out things that I didn't mention. Now people gonna say, "Oh, he's a poor loser," blah blah blah. People don't know shit because they don't know what's going on behind the scene and what.
That's the
Uh,
title of this interview. Gegard Mousasi says people don't know shit.
yeah, they don't know, and they're gonna say I'm a bad loser,
Right.
whatever. But I felt a lot of times I lost. I was like, okay, this, but I don't. I just keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
But sometimes, and then sometimes you're frustrated.
Mhm.
But whatever. I'm not looking for that fight. But let's say he wins his next fight, and
Yeah.
I won 2, 3 fights,
Yeah.
and there's another chance that I can face him and to get to
Mhm.
fight for the belt. I'm open to that.
Yeah. Nice. Well, yeah, I think some things are going to shake out. Whoops. Where'd you go?
Oh,
Are you
yeah,
there still?
yes.
Okay, there we go. Okay, I lost it for a second. We're still going though. Yeah, no, I feel like it seems logically that maybe Luke Rockhold will get the next shot. At whoever wins between Chris and Vitor. But there's time. How soon would you want to fight again? I guess what we're talking. It's May now. Are you thinking like October, September, October, or would it be a little bit later than that?
September, October,
Yeah.
I would have another fight, and I think that's enough for this year. And then see what's happening. Till then, people are gonna get injured.
Yeah.
People are gonna have fought for the belt. The landscape is gonna change.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I'm just focusing on have one more fight end of the year to finish the 3 fights, 3 finishes, and go from there in 2015 for the belt.
Nice. Well, now you had a great fight against Mark Munoz, and this was a really hard fight. Again, I was watching this one again today. I love Mark Munoz. He is really one of the greatest guys walking the planet. So it was a tough fight, knowing both you guys well, and knowing that you're both great guys. And it's interesting to me, you guys really seem to have bonded after that. Looking at some of the tweets between you and the camaraderie you have over right now in Manila. How did that fight affect your relationship, and were you that friendly with him beforehand?
Yeah, we became friends in Manila, in Germany,
Yeah.
when we were doing the promotional stuff
Right.
weeks ahead of the
That's
fight.
right. A
So
couple stories are coming back to
it,
me now, but I'll.
yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's absolutely one of the nicest guys I met,
Right.
and I have a lot of respect for him.
Hmm.
And we're still friends.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. He's a stand. He's a really stand-up guy.
Yeah.
So I wish him the best in this
Hmm.
fight and in whatever he's gonna do. So, but he's a guy that everyone can be friends with.
I know.
So I
He
think,
really is. He's great, and
yeah,
I'm really looking forward to his ring walk. I feel like it's gonna be so emotional. I spoke to him the other day. We went down to Rain,
yeah,
and that was weird for us. We were there for the grand opening of that gym, and we've seen so
yeah,
many great people come in and through those doors and done so many great interviews. It was like a little bittersweet going down there for the last time, but I love the rapport that you guys have worked out. I am curious though. About your relationship with Kostas, and if you guys are aggressive or not, because I actually was looking, and I don't think you are, but I was looking back at some interviews you and I have done. We have some from like 5 years ago and stuff. It's fun. It was actually sort of fun to look
yeah,
back.
yeah,
And one thing that I've noticed is,
yeah,
yeah, no, they're good, they're fun. Consistently though, is that you, except for one person, are generally like, I'm just looking forward to the fight, very respectful. But it seemed like King Mo was the only person who ever kind of bothered you. Is that a fair
yeah.
statement?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
But people say he's a nice guy also.
yeah,
So it's maybe different. I say not timing, but different approach because we had to fight each other.
yeah,
So it's a different circumstances.
right.
Maybe in some other circumstances we would have been even friends. I don't know.
I don't know either,
Yeah,
but it's funny because to me, some fighters seem to really need to dislike their opponent, or
yeah,
need to get something going, just for the sake of the fight. Like Michael Bisping, for example, who I work with, like he kind of needs that and likes that, and right after the fight, it's cool. But you've never really needed that, right? I mean, and your sort of praise and critique at the same time is that people say you're like so even keeled. Do you know what I mean? Your fans are like, "Oh, Mousasi's so chill, he just goes in and gets it done," and your detractors say Mousasi doesn't care about anything.
well, it's sports.
Yeah.
It's they have family, I have family.
Mhm.
What's the reason to hate the guy?
Yeah.
We're gonna we wanna make some money and go healthy home.
Right.
So why trash talk somebody? It's 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 sports and it's business. It's not. I don't know the guy.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe you can say he's not so good in as a fighter,
Right.
but other than that, I don't know.
That's good. No, you're a gentleman. I think that's great. One thing I do know, though, is that you did finally get frustrated with the whole sponsorship thing, and McDessie, and on Twitter, you eventually started to call out Fear the Fighter. What's the status of that right now? Have you been paid?
Well, I don't know. My manager still is handling
Hmm.
that, but I don't know. The guy is he's fighting in UFC,
Yeah.
and he's doing some crappy stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope I meet him
Hey,
sometime
listen, I'm
soon.
going to Vegas for 187 out there. I could, I'm kidding.
No,
Don't.
one time hopefully I will meet him in person.
Why don't you
That
come to
would,
Vegas next week? Come to 187.
yeah, I'm not gonna travel to see that guy, but
No, no, no. Well,
hopefully I
hello. You could go for
walk
the
him
Weidman
in
belt.
somewhere where I'm not gonna travel specially just to see him.
No,
It's not
hello.
that
There's a
special.
couple of good fights going on. It's Vegas. It's summertime. You will have just fought. You could take a couple days off. Jesus Christ, Gegard. Come on.
Yeah, I'm coming to LA soon. I'm
Bull.
coming to LA soon, but
That's such
I
a
have
lie. You
no,
have.
no. This time I'm coming for sure. But I have to go to Italy
Uh,
for a sponsorship, and I have to go to Armenia to get some business done for my cousin.
yeah.
I have some obligations, but I'm coming 100% to
It's a
LA.
good thing I didn't hold my breath. I've heard that for I'm coming to
No,
LA.
this
No,
time
for
for sure.
sure, for sure. Sure.
Promise.
But the Reebok deal, are you bothered by that? I mean, you're a veteran, and I'm trying to remember how many of your Strikeforce fights fell under when UFC had, Zuffa had already purchased it or whatever. It's tough for you, and I know that's got to be a bit frustrating. But do you think that there's other things? Obviously, if you're going to Italy, do you feel like there's other ways for you to make some supplementary income?
I'm gonna make a lot less,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, I'm not like Ronda Rousey or John Jones that can go do some performances and get big sponsors outside,
Yeah.
because there are, besides MMA stars, there are also people know general
Yeah.
them. Yeah, they're bigger than the, let's say, MMA.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ronda Rousey is in the
Yeah.
movies, she's doing commercial. So that's maybe 2%
Mm-hmm.
of UFC fighters that
Right.
gonna get outside sponsorship. So it doesn't look good for me.
Gegard, I'm happy to do a weekly podcast with you where we talk about real estate and no, no, I know you're a mogul anyway. You don't need the money, let's be honest. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'm not so exciting to talk to. So I don't know.
But we can
I
make
don't think
you.
people are gonna watch it.
We can mold you, Gegard. No, listen. I know.
Yes, that's good.
You mentioned Armenia as well. I know. You went over there in honor of the genocide, and I saw some pictures with you and your brother, who seems to never leave your side. Bless his heart. Was that an
Yeah,
important trip for you? An emotional trip for you?
yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people that, at least even Kim Kardashian was there,
No,
and
God.
it brings awareness to the situation, what
Yeah.
has happened. And
Yeah.
I think that's positive. That, I think it's important people know history, because those are the things that should not happen again.
Hmm.
And that's the thing. Like everyone knows about the German war, I mean the World War II,
Hmm.
and since then there's not been a war in Europe,
Yeah.
because people seen what has been, what war can do.
Hmm.
So the mentality also changes,
Yeah.
the thinking changes. So history is important, and that's why I feel like if I contributed a little bit, even just a little bit, it's positive.
Yeah. Well, and I know you're actually when we were in Brazil, we were talking about stuff. I mean, people sometimes deride fighters and say that you guys aren't smart, but you're actually quite interested in sort of world politics and big picture things outside of the octagon.
Yeah, interested in
Yeah.
politics and history, especially World War II is very interesting to me.
Mhm.
But the higher you go, the dirtier it gets. So it's
Yeah.
better to just live your life.
Yeah.
You can do anything anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I hear you. I hear you. So
uh,
listen, I think it was Uriah Faber had was on a show and he mentioned that that his room was right next to Frankie Edgar's. Is there any chance
yeah.
that Costas is on the other side of that wall right now?
No, no, no. I
Okay, good.
just met him at the stare downs. He's a nice
Yeah, he
guy.
is a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, and
But they didn't book your rooms right next to each other because I feel like
no,
that's
no, no,
like
no.
that's a really bad mistake to put Frankie and Uriah
Yeah,
right next to each other. That's terrible.
yeah, that's not good.
No.
No, no. I've seen him just once,
Yeah.
so I didn't have any problems.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Well, cool. So listen, like I said, I'll be doing the Fox stuff, and so we have it's funny, it's late now, and it's funny that we're doing this. It's like 12:30 for me here. Literally, my call time Friday morning is 1 a.m., and I'm usually up now. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah,
like it's gonna be screwy. So for us to do this, but I know for you guys this is a really big deal, and I'm excited to be part of it, and I'm glad. I'm glad you're
thank you.
there. I think you're
Yeah,
gonna. I feel like you're a guy who could like have a fan base there already and really enjoy the moment.
yeah. People knew me here,
Yeah.
know me, and uh, Philippine fans are like 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 the Asian fan,
Yeah.
like the Japanese fan, very friendly, and so I'm looking forward to the fight, and hopefully the crowd is on my side.
Nice, nice. And Friday you
Uh,
can eat because they have good food there, right? Is it hard to not eat it all yet?
well, I, I I like different food. I like
Oh.
steaks, just more westerns,
Okay, so you're not a big rice guy
potatoes,
and a big.
French fries,
Okay. Right.
McDonald's.
Oh. Okay.
McDonald's have to pay me. I'm making commercial for them.
Are you serious? You are?
No? No, not McDonald's. Burger King I like more, but
Oh, God.
so maybe Burger King should sponsor me.
Somebody should. Somebody should.
Yeah, but they don't call me. I don't know.
Well, after this
How many
interview,
viewers do you have,
clearly
Karyn, on your show?
you you will be. We'll Photoshop in a Burger King. Well, you saw that the Burger King walked
Yes.
out with Floyd Mayweather for that fight. Did you see that?
No, I
It
didn't
was
see that. Yeah,
Gegard, the most ridiculous thing. Like literally, a guy in the Burger King outfit
yeah,
walked out with Floyd. Like there's
yeah,
Floyd, there's his homie, there's the GD Burger King. It was
yeah.
ridiculous.
But they did it also with. They did it also with Samsung with Manny
Yeah,
Pacquiao. That
right, with the
they made a
camera.
selfie.
Okay, that's a
Yeah,
camera. It's not the Burger King. Like the
yeah,
Burger King is what.
yeah.
Think about it for a second. Like, do you really you what? You want Ronald McDonald to walk out with you, or the Hamburglar or something like rolling? Gegard's rolling with the. I mean, come on.
Healthy food for the athletes.
Yeah, yeah, it's so good for
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
I didn't see that
Oh,
actually.
it's funny.
But
No, you have to look because I
yeah,
literally I
maybe
was
gonna
like,
check it out.
what is going on right now? This is not even
Yeah.
okay. I just realized here.
Okay.
Let me take a picture so I can Instagram that I was talking to you, and then everybody will get all hyped up. Okay,
Thank you.
ready? There it goes. All right, perfect. So listen, we won't hold our breath for
Yeah.
your trip to LA. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's always great to see you, and really wish you luck. And I'm excited to see you in action. And I know you're fired up for this, and I feel like you're ready to deliver. And like I said, it's going to be a banger. This one, you guys are out there to throw some bombs, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So
Thank you, Ken.
yes,
It's always nice talking to you.
yes.
So I always enjoy it.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Well, thank you, Gegard. Now, I know it's just late
Thank,
afternoon. I might go get some sleep here, but I'll see you on Friday when you are on the scale. So have a
yes.
great one. Okay, we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much,
Thanks.
Ken. Bye bye.